I do this thing on the Union where I go sit in front of the Union and I have a sign that says, "Rant to me about religion and I'll listen." And I'm doing that largely in response to some of the street preaching that happens at the University of Nebraska, where people in the name of Christ will go out and tell people they're whores and that they're going to hell, and if you're this or that, you're condemned. And that's not how I roll. That's not what we do here at the Lutheran Center. So this is kind of a protest of that I just go sit, and if somebody wants to talk to me, I listen. I'm not out there to argue. I'm simply there to be kind of the church in a listening posture. It's kind of funny because several weeks there was a street preacher out there by the name of Brother Jed, and he raised quite a stir and called people a lot of names and had lots of crowds. And I was out there the same week doing my thing, and the next week I was out there again because I do this every Thursday. And what got funny about that was the Daily Nebraskan, the week after Jed had been here, they ran an article on street preachers, and they used a photo of me. And the photo of me said something like, "One of them waits for students to come up to him so he can argue with them," which is exactly what I don't do. But all of a sudden, just because I was out there in proximity, because I'm Christian, I got lumped in with the kind of category of those who are out there condemning, when in fact that's quite the opposite of what I do. But it was easier to compress that and to kind of categorize everyone out there in front of the Union as being of the same thing, the same kind of thing.
My name is Rick Barrera, and I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which many people know as the LDS Church or the Mormon Church.
My name is Asabar Sajid. I'm a Muslim here at the Islamic Foundation of Lincoln. I've been here for 21 years now, and I'm the Secretary of the Islamic Foundation of Lincoln.
My name is Mitchell Graham. I was born in Omaha, raised in Lincoln. Went away to school, University of Kansas, graduated in 2005 with a degree in psychology. I've been a member of the Jewish synagogue here in Lincoln my entire life, Tifereth Israel Synagogue.
All right. I'm Adam White. I'm the campus pastor at the Lutheran Center, which is the campus ministry of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America on the UNL campus.
I think people are taught what to believe, and until they become mature enough to seek out truth themselves, they believe what has been passed down.
Often, when we're deeply afraid of someone different from us, it's because we don't have a sense of who we are. We're afraid if somebody has a different idea or a different frame of reference that somehow it's a threat.
I think the one thing with media is that they look at Islam as kind of an evil type of religion.
I've run across people who automatically have assumptions about what I'm going to be like because I'm a Mormon.
When a lot of people kind of name what Christianity is, they expect it to be highly judgmental, to be homophobic, to be very legalistic.
And to an extent, almost every religion is portrayed a certain way by the media.
They immediately think of, terrorists, suicide bombings.
I mean, people have even asked me if I dance, if I'm allowed to dance and things like that, and that's just crazy.
Muslims aren't like friendly people, like we're always like mad. And
the hallmark of Christianity is one of narrow-mindedness.
How many people today believe all Muslims are terrorists? Or how many people believe all Jewish people are stingy? It's just crazy myths that have been perpetrated throughout the years that people still hang on to.
They think of a Muslim, they think of a guy in a beard. They think of a Muslim as a girl in covering herself.
And so you find that sometimes you're prejudged on how you might behave, what you might think based upon your religion, and oftentimes it's untrue.
And they're getting that portrayal from somewhere. And my gut is largely that that's the message that's kind of being packaged in terms of media.
Sometimes we tend to attach a religion to a person who's done something bad or wrong to get an effect from it, instead of if it means something. If there's a reason to highlight that the person is of a certain religion, great. But if there's not, if it's just sensationalism or adding fuel to a fire, then I don't think that's necessary.
I think it's been like that for years, though. If you look at it, this isn't something new for us.
Well, you know, it's often the stories of extremists that end up on the news.
Like ISIS immediately, like what they do, they'll immediately think that that's all Islam. Like that's literally what Muslims believe and what they do.
Because you can have Christian extremists, you can have Jewish extremists, you can have Buddhist extremists, you can have secular humanist extremists. And the part of that we ought to see as being central is extremists. And anytime that happens, that's not good. And it doesn't matter what kind of religion it's yoked to or how it's yoked to that religion. For me, when I hear extremist, I hear a kind of first order blasphemy, that somebody has a violent political end that they're interested in, and they bring God along for the ride.
People don't do their research, it's more of what they see on TV.
So often it's the things that are provocative that get reported on the news.
And I'm not saying the media is purposely being untruthful, but it doesn't benefit them to take a lot of time to find the truth if they have a good storyline.
Media seems to be working off of whichever news will sell the papers.
I think the media satiates our desire for things like violence, for things like conflict, and insofar as that's the way that they choose to report on anything, especially religion, it's going to be a very one-sided kind of story, and it's certainly going to distort some of the good that many religions do in this world.
I think too often media tends to react to stories rather than really searching out the truth, because that's what sells.
I mean, my brother and I talk about this. We have to triangulate. If we want the truth of news, we have to read 3 or 4 different news sources on the subject and pick out what we think is the truth.
It'd be interesting to see something that would be positive.
Rather than kind of finding stories that recycle a narrative we've heard over and over again, I think it would be cool to look for stories that break those narratives, that really upend the frameworks that we're giving to religious groups.
I think it's just hearing people's side of the things instead of kind of just immediately jumping to conclusions.
Make us rethink what it means to be a Jew or a Muslim or a Christian, and show us fresh expressions and new ideas that don't play into the stereotypes that we already have.